Let's podcast. Alongside Joe Giglio, I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and, of course, thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, they can handle those things. Get everything you need to the cloud. What they cannot handle is how do we handle the Hubert Davis exit? They can't do that. Can anybody do that, Joe? I was fretting yesterday.
You were.
I was legitimately pressed yesterday because I knew the minute I hit publish,
we were going to have. I see you in that state as well. I was concerned.
It's fine. It's fine. I have other reasons why I'm stressed right now, which I'll get to in a second because it'll lead to a PSA. But it's going to lead to a PSA, like for real talk, because I'm concerned for our listeners. Anyway, I was legitimately stressed out yesterday because I was like, dang it, how do we handle this? Like the news could drop at any minute. No news dropped with Hubert Davis. And I don't expect any news to drop today. I'm reading Andrew Jones over at Tar Heel 24/7 this morning while sipping coffee, and he's got his late Monday night update, Intel update, which is behind a paywall. I'm not going to give away everything that Andrew has to say because I'm not going to get in the way of Andrew making money. Okay? Respect our colleagues. Respect our friends. Go pay some money to get info from Andrew Jones. Yeah. But the one nugget I don't think he'll mind me just saying is that I understood the whole North Carolina and the women are in the NCAA tournament right now, and you don't want to step on their moment.
On campus, by the way.
On campus.
Yeah.
You don't want to step on their moment.
Yeah.
That's a real thing that I hope our listeners understand. We're not just throwing that out there. There's a very real thing on just about every college campus when it comes to an athletic department. This is not unique to UNC. Very, very aware of these things. But then I see today that there's no news expected today on a Tuesday, and it's 11:56 as of right now, because Bill Belichick is having a rare media availability ahead of spring practice opening up for the Tar Heels. So they don't want this to get in the way of what Bill is trying to do for football. It also, as Al Hood over at Tar Heel blog pointed out to me, it's also UNC's day of giving. Like Give UNC is their big fundraiser. And I got to imagine that if they were to have the news of Hubert Davis and somebody's calling up saying, hey, can you give us money, that they're maybe trying to save the people on the other end of the phone from Hubert Davis takes. Like, oh, you want my money for what? I'll give you more money if you go out and hire this guy. Like, all right, you want me down for 100? Tell you what, I'll give you 10 grand if ... right? So maybe they're trying to avoid that and just do one thing at a time. And of course, the other thing that we know is that North Carolina is trying to be very respectful of Hubert Davis and how they handle his dismissal. How are they going to phrase it? As Andy Staples likes to joke, billable hours are undefeated. So the lawyers right now are clearly trying to get all the language perfect so everybody looks good in the end. But we have hit a point now, Tuesday. I mean, this happened last Thursday. It's now Tuesday. We're coming up on a week of this. We are actually getting to the point, in my opinion, that in your efforts to be as respectful as possible to all parties involved, you're actually now being disrespectful, not just to Hubert Davis by dragging this thing out, but you're also being disrespectful and maybe even getting in the way of other people making money and their future job prospects with staffs being put together. Are we not at that point now with Hubert Davis?
Well, if Charlotte hadn't hired Wes Miller and UNC Greensboro hadn't hired Jared Haas, I would say to you, I'm sure, but those are two guys. They're going to fill their staffs. They're going to want someone who has a connection to this area and knows how to recruit. Like, there's a real opportunity for some of those assistants to get jobs. And, just being like, hey, we're trying to work this out. And it's all connected, right? Like the Mac Brown thing we had talked about yesterday. I think we could all agree it was handled poorly.
Yeah.
And it was handled poorly in large part because Mac would not cooperate, right? And so I understand that. There's always going to be moving parts to this. And I think with Hubert in particular, they are trying to be careful. But ultimately, whether you call it, whatever you want to call it, the decision ultimately is we're saying to you, you're not the coach anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm not the kind of person that needs the kid gloves. And I don't think Hubert needs them either.
I don't think so either.
But I think this is more of the school saying, hey, we kind of screwed up the Mac thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's the all-time winning coach at our school. He deserves respect. Deserved more respect than the way that episode had played out.
Yeah.
So I can see why they would want to clean some of that up. We've talked about Bill Guthridge when he was essentially told, no, really, you're retiring this time.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they announced it. Like, oh, you're retiring. And it's like, did he really want to coach the next year, though? Probably.
Maybe.
Maybe. And I think even if you go back and look at like Matt Doherty, like they never outright come out and say, other than Bubba basically telling Mac after losing to Boston College by 100 points.
Yes.
Nah, dude, you're fired.
You're done.
It's over.
I mean, but again, I think Mac has to cooperate in that situation.
Well, that's the thing.
Mac had to cooperate.
And maybe what we're seeing here is some sort of cooperation. To your point, though, about the billable hours, if you're Hubert Davis, you do need to be careful of what you say.
Yes, that's why we've seen nothing.
Because you can't sit here and be like, no, you can't pull a Les Robinson, which for those who don't remember, Les was under fire after the 95-96 season where they lost a bunch of close games. And the conversation around Les Robinson at that point was, here's this former player and came back at a time when the school really needed him after Jim Valvano went through all these crazy, restrictions and regulations and has been a good soldier, but ultimately the results aren't there. And so what Les did publicly was, I'm going to retire for the good of the program. I'm going to retire. And it just so happened to work out for Les Robinson that he got a job with NC State as what everyone thought would be like a ceremonial position. Less than a year later, he was the person who was now the AD, the new AD after Todd Turner had left NC State, I believe, at that point to go to Vanderbilt. So,
yes, he went to go to Vanderbilt at that time.
Yeah. So you don't know how this thing's going to play out, but it goes back to our talks about Dave Doran this year. Straight up, Debbie would text me and go, why would Dave retire? And I said, well, I mean, I think he's done with all this stuff. Just wants to get Joe. The school owes him like, $8 million.
There's that.
You can't just sit here and she's like, it's going to be very rare that you find someone who walks away from money like that.
I wouldn't do that.
Right.
Yeah. You find a way to make sure that you get your money and it's phrased in a way or framed in a way that makes sense. However, these are things that can be, it's almost like, you can walk and chew gum at the same time.
You can.
The fact that it's going on this way actually becomes more of a distraction for the other things you're trying not to distract from. You see what I'm getting at? We're all sitting here trying to what's going on with Hubert? What's going on with Hubert? Do you think that the media contingent that's going out to Chapel Hill today to go see Bill Belichick is really they're going to check off the boxes that they need to do for the spring game, and they'll post the stories they know they need to post. But what do you think the conversation is going to be amongst the media contingent there in Chapel Hill? Or what do you think they're going to try to be sourcing?
Well, that's the part that I guess there is no speculation at this point. It is all assumed that he is not going to be the coach. So nobody's even really speculating that he's going to return.
They postponed his radio show. That's never going to get rescheduled. And then as we've come to find out through multiple outlets, including Tar Heel 24/7, whatever the exit interviews were supposed to be with the players and the families and all that stuff, that also got postponed with no scheduled, no reschedule. So what are we doing here? Just, again, I'm not in it. I understand there's a lot of, there's a needle they're trying to thread. I get all that kind of stuff, but I hope people understand what we're getting at here. By making this go on as long as it's been going on, you're actually doing people a disservice in the way that you are handling it.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Let's go with 336.
I am going absolutely insane reading casuals or national media people who have not been watching Carolina basketball talk about this head coaching decision. This is not a one-game decision. This isn't something that is just because we blew a lead, a 19-point lead in the first round. It's not just because of that. Am I going crazy? Why? Why are people on Twitter or nerds on ESPN getting there and talking about you can't fire him because of one game? It's not just one game. Don't gaslight me into thinking I didn't watch the teams that I've watched for the past 5 years. This is not a singular instance of this happening. Why are people acting like we weren't up on 30 against Syracuse? And then won by what, 5 or 7, whatever it was? Why are they acting like we weren't down by 15 on Clemson and lost by 1? Why are they acting like Duke didn't go on a, 16-0 run on us? Like we weren't up by 15 at the half on Kansas in the national championship? Like we weren't up by 20 at the half on Baylor in the round of 32 in 2022? This isn't a single instance. Stop. Why? Why do they keep talking like this? I'm not crazy. I've watched the games. We need to stop letting casuals talk about basketball. Holy shit.
So that calls a good opportunity to cross-promote OG business with me and Dimitri, which you can get the entirety of that thing on the YouTube membership channel, because we do get into, this is more of a ESPN currently problem than it is about basketball casuals. You've essentially allowed two individuals to drive all the opinions at ESPN, Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee. Specific to Stephen A. Smith, like, I don't know how anybody can take the conversation seriously when he's on First Take talking about Kenny Smith should get a crack at the job. Like, tell me you don't know tell me you're a college basketball casual and you're just out here looking for your friends without telling me. Oh, you brought up Kenny Smith? This is not enough. There's no offense to Kenny Smith, but just like, that's not how it works now. That's not what we're doing now. And then you also have the First Take brain rot that is happening, where you got Jay Williams out here talking about how, well, if it wasn't for the logo, we wouldn't be talking about it right now. Dude, that's how it works. That's how you were a blue blood. I wanted to table this conversation more for a mailbag, because I do think there's a conversation to be had of what does it mean to be a blue blood in this era, 2026 and beyond. But like, Jay can't, and again, I say this as somebody who likes Jay. Jay's nothing but, he's a good dude. But I think there's something about going on First Take that makes your brain rot. And it's like, you forget, dude, you were just at the Smith Center wistfully looking up at the banners, talking about how you would have gone here. Yeah. And we all know the story. And you're a Duke legend in your own right. But now you're saying this? Like, what? We've lost our collective minds over this stuff. But I think it's more of an ESPN problem currently. Now, it is what it is, because the more ESPN gets like this, people will seek us out. So in a way, I'm like by all means, let Stephen A. Smith be the one who has all the opinions on the Carolina job, because it just means people will seek us out because we know what we're talking about. Yeah,
the caller's right in the sense it's not a one-game issue. It's not even a two-game issue. I think those two games, though, the Clemson game and the VCU game, crystallized kind of all of the problems that Hubert Davis has had and Carolina has had. Again, it's all relative to Carolina's standard. Mm-hmm. You know, the record against Q1 teams, that's a problem. The number of times they've fallen down by 15 in a game, that's a problem. The, missing the tournament and losing in the round of 64 compared to their standard, that's a problem too. And I think that's the more complete picture, the 5-year picture. But it is kind of fascinating to look at it, as we talked about yesterday. Like 3 weeks ago, you're sitting here going, man, and we could still say it, this was really some of his best work if you go through the whole regular season. But it's unfortunate for him that the season ended the way that it did. Mm-hmm. Again, with those Clemson and VCU losses, crystallizing some of those consistency issues that really have marked his entire tenure.
Today really is going to be a special OG and Friends episode. We're going to talk to Bomani Jones here in a little bit. But Chip Patterson, because we're in a one-stop shop here at Eford Studios, Chip can come through. Yeah. And then go get a haircut right after with Leanne, right?
Yeah.
That's perfect stuff.
If this was, off-season, summertime protocols, we would have scheduled in like a long hangout, maybe even a lunch after this.
We would absolutely be doing lunch.
But with events, that it was a little bit more tentative in terms of like knowing where we would be, what we would be talking about, what time you would be recording.
Wait, what events are you talking?
Why? What happened?
We know the events. It's UNC's Day of Giving, and Bill Belichick and that's what you're here to talk about. Bill Belichick and spring ball, right? No, that's not why.
Just, any time that we can make sure that we focus on 48 true and redshirt freshmen compared to 12 seniors, fifth-year seniors, and grad students. Anytime you have 4 times the amount of freshmen, anytime you have 70 new players, now's a great time to be able to talk about, or a Vegas win total of 4.5. Anytime that you can talk about that is a good move.
What are you doing with that win total, by the way? 4.5.
I think it's a good number.
You gonna take the under on that? That's a perfect number, by the way.
It's perfect.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
It really makes you think. But when you bring it up like that, 48 freshmen, thinking about Mike Lombardi talking about freshman-led team as though that's the recipe for success in college football these days, and the schedule.
Right.
I'm inclined to say under. I'm inclined.
But I mean, there's at least there's what a floor of 3.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with some coin flips there, and whether they can jump up and nab somebody. But yeah. Anyway.
All right. So when I knew you were coming up here, I thought to myself, actually, Chip would be a perfect person to ask this question.
Ooh.
Because NC State has the burnerverse.
Mm-hmm.
All right. NC State's stuff plays out in public. Carolina's stuff does not play out in public.
Sure.
I'm convinced more and more that Carolina's stuff is relegated to, smartly, the group chat. It could be a WhatsApp group chat. It could be an Instagram DM group chat where you guys are sharing reels all the time. It could just be good old-fashioned iMessage with the one straggler who is green. Okay, because we all have that one friend who insists on an Android.
Oh, I used to have that one friend.
Yeah.
Draw a line in the sand.
It's like
upgrade or we're getting a new chat.
Well, thankfully they've updated these things where you can do RCS and everything is a little bit easier to handle these days. So I have a feeling that you are in those secret group chats that never see the light of day. What is the tenor of those chats right now?
I think that so first of all, I'm really more of a courier.
Okay.
I pop in lots of different circles and conversations.
I see.
A large portion have already moved on to the fan fiction of the coaching search, right? The thing that
Brad Stevens,
all of the delusion that is going to put you into visualizing all these different players, photoshopping them in Carolina, trying to imagine
I've seen the Brad Stevens Photoshop.
Or like, okay, oh goodness, like, is Todd Golden still going to wear his little, short sleeve pullover, or is he going to dress it up a little bit? TJ Otzelberger, he's more of a like a little polo guy buttoned all the way to the top. I mean, goodness gracious. But I think that the most interesting places that I have seen are, number one, like, there are some North Carolina fans that are still in the, God, I just feel so sorry for him, and do you know what my suspicion is? I think the reason they feel sorry for Hubert Davis is because they've got sadness about the end of the Dean Smith era. That it is like a true emotional sadness that after this long run of the Carolina family being a real legitimate family tree, that it's over. And there's no way that you're going to be able to move forward without disconnecting. As I think that y'all rightly discussed, I think yesterday, It ain't just going to be the head coach, and it ain't just going to be a couple of assistants. Like, there's been a lot that's been done a certain way because Coach Smith did it, because Coach Williams did it. And I think that, how about this? So when I was growing up, there was a VHS in our house called Blue Heaven. It was produced around 1994, 1995.
I know which one you're talking about.
They're talking about George Glamick and the tin can and all these things. The Carolina family, and I was at Carolina from 05 to 09, there's a lot of Carolina fans who just drink that up and believe that stuff. And so right now, there's still some sadness. Again, there's the fan fiction delusional, like, let's just spin this off into who our next coach is going to be. And I do think there is still some sadness. But the thing that has been the most interesting window, and I am not directly texting or like having these conversations with former players, but I've got enough people that I was at Carolina with to be able to take the temperature.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to where they are not lining up to stand in the line of fire. And I don't, and I think from what I've been able to gather from conversations, it simply is the performance, it's just, it is the 5-year sample set.
Size.
Congratulations. You are running a top 15 program. Top 15, top 20 type program. That is, what I had fun with? Hey, sorting the data on
Yeah.
Bart Torvik. I did a 5-year full Hubert Davis sample set.
Mhm.
So the adjusted efficiency over the 5-year sample set had North Carolina 21st in the country, that they were 13th in wins, and that they were 20th in a 5-year sample set wins above bubble at plus 15.5, about 3 wins per year over bubble.
Yeah.
You are a perfectly fine 4-5 seed ass program. And you know what?
NC State takes that every single day.
But you know who doesn't? The former players and
Yeah,
the
they
former
don't.
staffers and the people that are looking at it. And that's
It's been
why.
interesting to see the UNC podcast verse, like the Theo Pins. I usually use Theo as the avatar for this.
Justin Jackson was on with Dusty and Danny yesterday.
Wait a second.
And
What did you say was the Bart Torvik actual number
for what?
for UNC's performance over these 5 years?
It was 21st in adjusted efficiency, 13th in wins with 125, and 20th in 5-year wins above bubble.
13th in my totally unarbitrary tiers.
Your point system?
My point system, 10th.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like I think
Better than everybody else in the
and
ACC.
what I think Theo is Theo's a mouthpiece for his group chats.
His group
which are
chat.
the actual.
Justin Jackson doing that. I mean, heck, I was listening to, look, Tate Frazier knows this when I say this. I mean it with love. He's like a UNC super fan, right?
Sure.
And I'm listening to the ACC Network podcast, and it's like, even he's like, yeah, man, like this is, we have some serious conversations to be having here. So I
Right.
totally get where it's coming from. Also, Chip's spoiled. 05 to 09. I always forget it was 05 to 09.
Yeah.
Most people would kill for your college years.
I almost died.
Truly blessed.
Well, you know what, Joe?
Truly blessed.
And it almost killed me.
Yeah, look how gray he is. That's why. The reason why Chip is gray is because of the 05 through 09.
The reason why I was in summer school in the summer of 08 was because I just said, class, what class? Let's just follow the team to every single NCAA tournament site and just keep this thing rolling. If they win it all, it'll be worth it. Then Kansas puts them in a locker, and I'm like, well, was the 0.0 worth it, Chip? Was it?
Well, redemption. You got it in 09.
I know, such suffering. You lost to Kansas.
Oh, how dare you?
Well, how long did you have to wait? Oh, the very next year. Oh, how did you
But
manage?
so all right. So the different it is sadness, it is delusion, fan fiction, and then it is what I would say sensibility, where you're saying, look, if you want to have a mission statement for the future, then you have to say that this 5-year sample set, which is a perfectly fine top 15 to top 20 program. But when that other list of schools, when I did it, I was like, yeah, look, there's Purdue, there's Gonzaga, there's Arizona, there's,
all the teams
there's,
on my list.
and this was the one that was the real, like, oh gosh, like there's Tennessee. North Carolina basketball swimming in the same pools as Tennessee basketball is not the standard.
Auburn, Tennessee, Florida. Yep.
Not the standard. It's the best way to put it. Chip Patterson, CBS Sports Cover 3. What are you talking about these days? It's spring ball now, right? I Cover 3. So
a little bit of spring ball. We've got this series that I actually do like because it's not gambling talk, but we use the gambling as our launching off point. It's called If Vegas Is Right. So as the win totals come out, we look at them and then we put them into more narrative things like, okay, these coaches are on the hot seat. Let's look at their win total. Or these fan bases think they're going to compete for a title. Let's look at their win total. Or these first-year coaches, here's the expectations, that kind of stuff.
This is different from the song version you have about.
That's just ripping picks.
Okay.
That's going through and being like, okay, I think they've got like this win on the road and this, like, that's very, very game by
How's it
game.
go? Like, tell me how many wins you're going to do next
How many
fall?
games you're going to win this fall?
That's it. See, all the best podcasts have jingles. That's what it's all about. Chip Patterson, CBS. Hey, man, we appreciate it. Go get a haircut.
Sounds good. Y'all be well.
Housekeeping is brought to you by Inovana. Check them out online at inovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean, clean with Inovana.
One quick PSA before we get into some housekeeping. And this also,
Do I need to pay attention to this?
this is also some housekeeping for me as well. So my mom is in the hospital right now. She's fine. She had a pickleball accident.
Okay. How old's your mom?
My mom is 70. She'll be 71 in 3 weeks.
Okay.
So my mom had never played pickleball before. But,
Oh, no. This was the first time she ever played?
So our good family friends, Leo and Lucy, my dad and Leo have known each other since childhood. They lived across the street from each other in Hialeah. worked at IBM together, University of Miami, all that stuff. I mean, Leo and Lucy, they're family for all intents and purposes. So they're very active. So they've gotten into pickleball, as one does. So my mom's been curious about it. So she's like, oh, okay, I'll come out and go to your pickleball court in your community and we'll have a good time. So my mom's all about it. She's playing for like 2 hours. And then she went for a lob because my mom is competitive. If you want to know where I get my competitiveness from, it's actually from my mom. My mom is outwardly not somebody you would think is competitive, but once the competition starts or you think, oh, you don't think I can do this? Oh, okay. That's when the competitive juices start flowing.
I think my juices flow all the time.
Well, my mom's competitive juices started flowing and she got aggressive going for a lob. And I think she thought she was back in her racquetball days at the old IBM courts. And she was shuffling backward and fell. So initially we thought it was, she was going to need hip replacement. Instead it was a femur. So she's got she's out of surgery. She's fine. I was actually at the hospital earlier this morning to check up on her and she's fine. The reason why I'm bringing this up, yes, there's a little bit of housekeeping for, hey, man, if things look a little harried, that's why, because I'm going to have to help my dad because my dad's not in the best shape, right? But the surgeon, when he got to my mom yesterday, says, pickleball accident. And he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially what he said was, yes, pickleball, America's #1 orthopedic surgery proponent. Like basically pickleball has seen, there's been an uptick in older people having injuries and requiring surgery, like torn MCLs, ACLs, Achilles, all that stuff because of pickleball. So I bring this up to say, because I know we have people our age and above who listen to this podcast, please, pickleball is great, but pace yourself. And I'm talking to you, Joe.
I know.
Because I know you've gotten into the pickleball. And as I'm having this conversation with my mom, I'm thinking to myself, shit, am I going to get a call from Jessica one of these days where you're out here being a little too aggressive playing pickleball and you've already got neck fusion issues and you're just like laid out on a pickleball court, right? You know what I'm saying?
When you play inside at one of those like really nice facilities, I'm not going to lie to you. I've had the urge to dive after.
Don't, dude. Just don't. Just don't. You ain't as young as you once was, okay? Just don't. So I'll go see my mom later today.
Well, I hope she starts feeling better. I'm glad the surgery went well.
She's back to her normal self. The reason
why 2 hours is a lot.
Huh?
Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
I can see it though. I can see how some of these issues occur.
My mom is fine.
Yeah.
It's my dad.
Well,
my dad's a big baby.
We are at an age where we're starting to have to take care of not only the little people that we raised, but the old people who raised us.
You're right.
That's how the world works. We're in that sandwich generation.
I know.
That's where we are.
I know. But you're right about that. But more specific to my dad, he's just a big baby. I'm gonna have to feed him. You know,
cook for him. You mean like you don't have to like actually feed?
No,
him.
I'm gonna Uber Eats everything. Like, what do you want, Dad? Have you tried the new Taco Bell stackers? Here you go.
Okay, well this is what I like to do when people are in need.
Gift cards.
Let's send them a Uber Eats gift card if you'd like out of the OG account. How about that?
Yeah, I guess we could do that.
That way he has it. Now you got to make sure Uber Eats goes to his neighborhood.
No, they do.
The other one I use is the other one.
What? There's Uber Eats and then there's Uber. There's Uber.
No. There's a different one.
There's DoorDash.
That's all. Because that usually goes to more spots.
Oh, okay.
See, you don't necessarily have these problems. In your neighborhood and where you live.
Oh, I can just go right up the street.
But I remember when Jessica was sick, people would send us Uber Eats stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I literally would have to drive to the N&O to get it delivered because this was 2018.
Oh, yeah.
They
weren't coming out
not
that way.
delivered to Garner.
Yeah, they weren't.
And I was like, okay. So that's why I've always done DoorDash ever since then, because DoorDash will go anywhere.
All right. That makes sense. All right. So I guess I'm going to have to be a fractional caretaker with my mom and my dad here soon. Is that like a fractional CFO? Maybe.
Kind of, sort of. You're doling out responsibilities and assuming the responsibilities that people otherwise couldn't do for their own business. I mean, I'm in that situation.
That would be Brassfield Accounting as a fractional CFO. Hit them up online, brassfieldaccounting.com. You're getting into true crunch time for taxes. If you realize, man, I don't have time to like corral all my stuff and like, I don't know, get on an online service and do this. I want to make sure it's done right. Contact Chris Brassfield for our listeners, for OG listeners.
Mm-hmm.
He will do your personal taxes. But more importantly, start the conversation if you're a small business owner about fractional CFO usage to take that off your plate. You might not have enough bandwidth to do so. So hit them up, brassfieldaccounting.com.
Because really the one thing about scrambling during tax season, which is why this is an amazing offer from Chris, it's difficult to find someone to help you at the last second, but also B, if you get their help, now all of a sudden your whole 2026 is going to be taken care of. And then you're not going to have to scramble. Like even we still have to scramble a little bit when our guy's like, hey, can you send me this? Hey,
we've had to do that.
Brassfield Accounting will take care of all of that for you as you go along. Like, you know me, I don't like to make plans.
No.
But Chris and his crew do and will for you and your small business.
Also, big thanks to Whitaker and Hammer. Check them out online, wh.lawyer. Speaking of expertise, you've got contracts to go over, employment contracts, all that kind of stuff. They can help you out with that. They got that expertise. They're also going to be hosting our birthday bash on May 2nd, noon at Shady's. May 2nd at noon, OG Lime will make its debut. We'll have it in keg form. I believe Mikey P has sent off the official new graphics for the can. The canning will happen here soon.
Look pretty good to me.
It looks really, really good. I'm very excited about that. In the meantime,
we're gonna have a pocket T-shirt with those limes, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
That is my one spring request.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're very, very excited about this. Also, big thanks to Bailey's Fine Jewelry. BaileyBox.com is the website. They've got locations across the triangle, across the state, and even California. For our California listeners, you're in LA, they do appointment only in LA in the swanky jewelry district. Okay. So check out BaileyBox.com for all the locations. More importantly, drop on by Fox and Bailey. Shout out to Ken, by the way.
He's amazing.
Ken went to Fox and Bailey this past weekend for their vintage watch event, and he picked up, I forgot the kind of watch he was looking for, but they had it. So he picked it up. He was very excited about this. And I've had some questions about like, well, wait a minute, what watch did you get? I go, well, I got this Casio G-Shock, the BX, what's it called? It's the BX 5600. Anyway, it's one of these squares, right? But it's got the new memory and pixel display, but they're not available in the States yet. Really? I come to find out they're not actually in the States yet, but at Bailey's, they were like, yeah, not an issue. It turns out that specialty retailers can have access to them. And of course, this is Bailey's. This is customer service. So if you're looking for something,
definition of customer service.
Either they're going to have it or they can make sure you have a way to get it. So check out BaileyBox.com. Fantastic customer service as always. Same with Roback. Hey, does something not fit you? Because I get it. Roback, they don't have storefronts. Sometimes you just got to go based on vibes. And hey, man, is this thing going to fit me? Don't sweat it. They send you something, the polo doesn't hit right or whatever, you can send it back. It's okay. They'll make sure it works out right. So check out Roback.com. Use that promo code OG20. Again, that's OG20.
Wearing the world famous, most comfortable hoodie on the planet right here, the Hezzy hoodie.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the new color block. There's a color block that they had that I want to find again. Hopefully, Ben and them will bring it back. It was a two-tone one with like the bright yellow ripcord, which I liked. But hopefully they'll bring that back. Either way, they do have the new Oxford button-downs. I wore those while we're out at
kind of sort of fancy.
Oh, I wore one the other day out to WCC, and some of the parents were like, oh, look at you all fancy. I'm like, it's Roback. It's like super comfortable. I'm like, touch it. They're like, ooh, this feels good. So check them out, Roback.com. Use that promo code OG20. They're dropping new stuff all the time. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, Bomani Jones. Right Time is the podcast. We bumped in with the Forever Grateful because, ladies and gentlemen, Hubert Davis really has hit Forever Grateful status as we wait for official word.
I was going to say, we bring on the smartest man in radio. We can't even have a bit for Hubert Davis watch.
I mean, you shouldn't have needed a bit. This shit should be over already. I can't believe this.
Oh, there was a women's basketball tournament that was very important. Okay.
Oh my God! Like I
Bill
just
Belichick
can't-
press conference. That's very important.
This is a real thing on the local level that you would absolutely love. That Bill Belichick, this is a real thing that Andrew Jones put over at Tar Heel 24/7. That Bill Belichick is having spring availability. It is a rare media appearance for Bill Belichick.
That is true.
And they don't want to take away from that by officially announcing that Hubert Davis is out the paint. That's where we are right now, dude.
Yeah, I from a distance, as somebody who hasn't even paid that much attention to this particular team, right? I am fascinated by the way this is played out. And from talking to my Carolina basketball fans, one thing I need everybody to understand, whatever you think about how black people view black coaches, it all goes out the window when they coach your actual team. Like there's a lot of slack that you might be willing to cut to brother man when he coaches somebody else's team. Man, they sound just like them white folks when they coach their own team. I ain't even watched the game. I knew how that shit was gonna go. You know, it turns into that, right? Like I watched the game, I saw they lost.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think it was a fireable offense. I do not think the metric of the round of 32 part, it's fireable if you want to fire him, which is always the case when somebody gets fired. It's because you want to fire him. And if you wanted to fire him, it was enough. You can explain it. I see why it is that you may want to do such a thing under these circumstances. You can justify firing just about anybody if you want to fire them.
Mm-hmm.
So fire them. You clearly want to do it. You have to fire him now. It's been too late.
Oh, they're not gonna fire him.
I was gonna say you keep using this fire.
They go,
word.
That's not what's happening.
You were
Bomani.
here long enough to know the clutch.
That's right. They did not fire Doherty.
Away.
They did not fire Doherty either. They were going to let him go.
Yeah, no, and this is like some real, this is some real Hamlet, dilemmas here. Your kingdom for a horse here. They're going to make him resign, or like even NC State got Les Robinson to be the special assistant to the principal, and then he ended up being the AD a year later. So who knows? Maybe Hubert Davis ends up being Carolina's AD in 2 years.
Somewhere Mac Brown's punching air,
right.
With that whole, I'm like, hold up, that was supposed to be me.
Who knows what games of semantics that they're playing? They are the masters of the wordplay as well. So I had to laugh at Pete Thamel having to go on the air and explain.
Yeah.
Well, they're not really firing him. It's going to be and I'm like, well, Pete, if it was Hubert's choice with 4 years left on his contract, he would be the coach next year.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when you show up and the key card doesn't work anymore, guess what that is?
Meetings are getting postponed, but no rescheduling, all that kind of stuff. Although I was listening to your podcast, well, Monday's episode. I don't even know what day it is for a variety of reasons. But I was listening to it, and I think you just hit the nail on the head. If you want to fire him, you have the reasons to fire him. You've been wanting to fire him. The thing that I've kind of picked up on in the last 24 to 48 hours and texting people who are closer to the program was because I was like, hey, man, 3 weeks ago, it was all good. What the hell happened? And it's like, nah, that's the thing. It wasn't all good. There were a lot of people behind the scenes that were just waiting for Hubert Davis to give them a reason to do it.
Yeah,
And
but
it wasn't just the 19-point blown lead. It was the press conferences, which gets to what you said. You got 2 moments as a head coach. That first press conference and that last press conference.
Yeah.
And that's where we are with Hubert Davis.
Yeah, although I think, and I guess maybe because they don't have enough practice at this job, you don't keep those whispers to yourself if that's really how you feel. You get them out there, and maybe people don't necessarily write those whispers, but you have whoever the columnist of record is, if such a thing still exists in that day and age, and you go into the tournament and that person writes a column that says, I think Hubert might be in trouble if he doesn't do what it is, and then everybody's primed for it, and then you go on about your business. Instead, what they've done is given an impression that is in line with my belief that firing him is not going to be the thing that helps them, which is simply your real problems is other stuff. And other stuff is on full display with the clunky way that you are handling this. And the fact that nobody really knows who's going to wind up doing this hiring. Like this school has largely been steady institutionally, right? The infrastructure game, even when things have gotten a little bit old and stale, they've been steady. and it doesn't feel steady anymore, right? The guy that people think the athletic director or Bubba, Bubba didn't get to hire the last guy, but you understood that Roy got to hire the last guy. Bubba ain't hiring this guy. It's a whole set of new people that people don't really know, who don't seem to have nearly an attachment to the history of the program as other people have had previously. And what happens under those circumstances, and where it's going to be interesting, is, does Carolina need to go outside of the quote unquote family? Yes, because the family doesn't have the guy.
Mm-hmm.
You need somebody the family is going to like. Otherwise, you hire Rich Rodriguez to coach at Michigan, for example.
Yes.
And that you cannot do, which is like, people are like, well, they need to go hire Nate Oates. What are you, blind?
Well,
No,
Joe,
they can't go hire. Wait, we need to go hire Todd Golden, the dude with the whatchamacallit problem.
right? Like,
That's not going to work.
Joe, you were all in on Todd Golden yesterday. I was like, all right, man, I'll let you cook on that one. But I'm thinking to myself, where does that fit in the will those people like that dude?
Yes.
Here's the thing about Todd Golden.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna. He was in the Title IX case.
Yes.
Number one. Bo, you may know more about this being on a campus than I do, but Title IX cases, you don't even have the right to face your accuser.
No, that is a fair point. And he beat it for whatever it's worth.
For whatever the result is worth, he was not found anything. And I'm going to tie this to another coach if you're ready. I got 2 points about this, actually. You ready?
Yeah. Hit me.
Point number one would be, it's a Title IX case, which is a very wonky process.
Yes.
To literally, it's, I would argue, unconstitutional that you don't even have the right to be in the same room as the person who is accusing you of a wrongdoing.
Mm-hmm.
Usually in a Title IX case, there's a sexual misconduct involved.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular case, I believe there was some stalking involved, right?
Yes.
Okay. So number one, I believe it was by a 21-year-old. At least one of the students was 21 years old. Todd Golden's 40 years old. That's a quick math, 19-year difference.
All right.
Bill Belichick's 73. He's got a 50-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah, but he ain't have to chase her.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
According to you.
Yeah.
How old was she really on that plane? What I'm getting at is they've made peace with adult men having relationships with younger women. University of North Carolina on the record has made peace with that.
Yes, but that guy, that woman did not turn that guy in.
Right.
Is all
fair
I'm
enough.
saying. That's all I'm saying.
just telling you, fair enough. But they, as an institution, here's my second part of how they've made peace with this.
Mm-hmm.
They have Zayden High on their roster.
Yeah.
He was involved in a Title IX case. We know more about we know more about that incident than we probably do about Todd Golden's, but they suspended a player who was involved in a sexual misconduct case. That was him filming someone having sex without her consent.
Mm-hmm.
They stood by that person. He's on their team to this day. So they've shown a willingness to be involved with people like that,
Not just
particularly on the basketball side.
He was a key part of the post-Caleb Wilson injury.
And now let me give you the last part of this that I think is really next level. Because Nate Oates, what do we know about Nate Oates? First of all, you believe in karma, right, Bo?
I can see the argument.
Okay. Well, Nate Oates had a star player on his team, Brandon Miller, who was directly involved in a murder case.
No, he was not directly involved in the murder case. He was, I guess in a manner of speaking, but it is very clear that he did nothing.
His weapon was involved, and his friend got a weapon from him, correct?
Yeah, but okay.
Legal terms.
You can keep going. Going.
They had the best team in the country that year. Unequivocally. Nate Oates was like, wait, you gave a gun to one of your buddies who killed somebody? I ain't punishing you. Dude, they lost so quickly in the NCAA tournament to an inferior team that year as the best team in the country. It was instant fucking karma.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, Florida's in this tournament. Everyone's like, well, the same thing's going to happen. Brandon Miller, they never punished him. Florida, Todd Golden, they never punished him. I'm just telling you, Florida won the national championship last year. So he not only was cleared of that Title IX case, but the karma gods cleared him too because they won the championship as well.
That is Galaxy Brain, Joe.
Yeah, I hear you. I want to be
Alabama results.
That is Galaxy.
Yeah.
Look at
I
those
just have to
Alabama
say,
results.
The Brandon Miller case, I need to go back and read the particulars, but I have to tell you, after all the stuff came out, it felt very unfortunate to Brandon Miller that it was portrayed in the ways that it was. Like that was a little different. I hear you on all of
it. Suspended him for a game.
Well, this is less.
But as I recall,
Miller,
he didn't do enough to even merit being suspended for a game.
Right.
Like it was. I mean, it was. it looked bad, and all of us felt, well, you got to do something because they say your player's involved in a murder. But this actually turned out to be one where it's like, oh, these guys actually know a little bit more than we do. And apparently they dealt with that the right way. But
San Diego State, that's where they lost to.
But who I think went to the Final Four championship game that year, right?
Karma, though.
Okay. But I just want to make, here's the thing about it. All those things you say are correct. The issue with Nate Oates is that he's not their kind of guy.
Correct. And
it's like that
this year.
Yeah, that's just all it comes down to. He's not their kind of guy. I'm not sure that Todd Golden is their kind of guy. I'm not fully certain what counts as their kind of guy anymore. Like, I think Carolina fans need to get hip to this. Like, Dusty May is not coming. You don't leave Michigan for North Carolina. No. You know what I mean? Like, it's not unless
alma mater last year.
Yeah. Unless you're an alum.
Right.
You don't make that sort of move. Billy Donovan, when he was at Florida, never left for Kentucky, though he gave it some serious thought, right? Like, it's not that easy to hire a coach that you think is up to the standard of what your program is. What that program needs to figure out is what exactly in the hell they are doing. And I don't think that's the part that any of us have an answer for about them. Is like, does anybody here know what they are doing in terms of running a program in this new day and age?
No, I don't think they do. And as the thing that I've been arguing is that they can't even get the PR messaging around where they're going to play basketball right. What makes you think they're going to be able to get the PR messaging or get everybody to agree on who that guy is, especially when there's no obvious guy out there like a Roy Williams? Now, it's been relayed to us that Roy Williams got what he wanted. Okay, that Hubert Davis is what he wanted.
Yeah.
That was fulfilled. After that, it's up to Hubert Davis to do the job, which he clearly didn't in their eyes. So they're going to move on from him. And now Roy is kind of like, hey, man, I'm cool with whatever you guys want to do. I'm too old for this shit anyway. Right?
Yeah, he is until, right? Great example. And this did not work out well in the end.
Yeah.
But John Thompson's last move at Georgetown was, you don't want one of my guys to be the coach? Fine, go find your own. And then they couldn't find one. And then he said, I told you to call Patrick. And then they called Patrick Ewing. And let's be clear.
Yeah.
That was a disaster.
But
that's how these go.
That was a disaster, but I see what you're saying about John Thompson, but you and I both know that John Thompson's that guy.
Yeah, but
doing radio and making sure that things were said in a way that were supposed to be said. And you and I both know that.
Yes.
Roy has never, ever
done that. All I'm saying is this. I think Roy will fall back until it becomes clear that maybe Roy needs to jump up.
I don't know, man.
But I don't think Roy has anybody to go get either. What's he going to? Who they going to hire? McGrath? They're going to get Jared Haas or wherever the hell he's at.
Haas just got hired at UNC Greensboro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, he doesn't have a guy.
Yeah, and Wes Miller got fired from Cincinnati, and he just took the Charlotte job. So there is no obvious guy, which then gets to who is it now? The thing that I think is more. We're hitting on an issue that North Carolina is dealing with, and a lot of these schools are dealing with, and it has to do with nostalgia. Straight up, it has to do with nostalgia. There is this idea that we've always done it this way. It's we've got this history, we've got the family. How would you not want to be here? As though college basketball is the same thing. It's just not the same thing anymore. It's not 2019. It's not 2018. It's a whole new ball game. And I think what's also crushing people right now is that Duke doesn't seem nostalgic at all. They're just like, K got out the paint. He'll pop up every so often. It's John's program. And for lack of a better term, they're cooking right now. Yes, they haven't won a national championship. I know Carolina fans want to bang on the fact that, well, he had the greatest team ever and he lost, as if other great programs haven't had all-time teams that go and lose, including Carolina, including Duke, right? So you've got Duke just like not really nostalgic at all moving forward, whereas Carolina's stuck in this thing right now where they don't even know where to play.
But I do think that every program in every sport that is at the level of, say, a Duke basketball or Carolina basketball, they don't simply want to win. They have ways in which they want to win. Yeah. A football example is the University of Florida. They want to win by scoring a bunch of points.
Yep.
Right. The Ben Howland era at UCLA, where he revolutionized the way Pac-12 played basketball, and I mean that in the worst way possible. Right. With Ben Howland, Herb Sendek. Herb Sendek wound up in line with that. Arizona State went and hired Sendek so they could play that same style of Princetonian basketball that Ben Howland did, except the problem was nobody wanted to play. UCLA didn't want to do that. right? They didn't like how that felt. No matter how many 3 straight Final Fours, all those NBA players, they're like, hey, man, this isn't the way that we want to do this. Duke, I mean, quite honestly, they believe in a little bit less over there. And so they were just kind of like, whatever it takes, we have to get this done. They changed a lot, but they didn't change that much. They just changed how it looked. They didn't really change that much about actually how they did things. They branded it a little bit differently, but still, like after they told us how they hoop, Krzyzewski was still recruiting very similar types of kids, just not as many of them were white. But still largely the same. Carolina's got a way that they want to do it, and I think it's okay to have the way that they want to do it. But I think Hubert's problem in large part was the way that he wanted to do it doesn't work anymore, right? Like, or it can work, but man, these boys want to get paid. These boys want to get out here. Like, this is guys' chances to make millions of dollars.
Yes.
This is it. They want to get as much exposure as they can. They want to get as much money as they can and try to nurture them and take their souls to the next level. I don't know if that's going to work, but you know who is in his own way making that work again? Cal. Cal got to Arkansas, and he's playing basketball the way he wants to play with the kinds of guys that he wants to play with. But Arkansas does not have the same standard for what they're doing that Carolina has. So Carolina's going to have to decide how to the results versus the way. What are they willing to trade on both sides in order to get to where they are? Because from what I can tell, what Carolina basketball means to people our age, it doesn't seem to mean to the kids for whatever reason.
It does not. It does not. And that's a hard thing for people to process. It's just not the same thing. Although it's funny, you're sitting here describing a certain way they want to play. This gets back to Todd Golden, who's openly talking about, like, hey, guys, you know what really works in college basketball? Two bigs.
Yep.
You know what really works? Run it a particular way, and that's how it works.
But it's not just style of basketball, though.
Yeah.
The idea of the family, like, look, man, being around Carolina and its program at like a program event, it's different than being around those other places, right? Like, Duke got brotherhood patches on the shirts, but come on, man. It ain't the same.
Well, but it is funny that you say Arkansas, because Acuff, I think we're going to look at this draft in a couple of years, and Acuff's going to be, I think, the best player out of it. And we're going to be like, wait, I thought it was supposed to be AJ Advanza. I thought it was Caleb Wilson. I think they'll all be good.
They'll all be good.
I think they'll all be good. Please don't get me wrong, but I think Acuff's a dude.
Oh, I think it's going to be Advanza, and I think Acuff just has one simple problem. I think everybody's going to enjoy when Acuff shows up because everybody's about to get buckets. He gonna get buckets. We gonna get buckets.
He's got a little Trae Young problem, you think?
Like, do you realize how bad a defender that you have to be to play for Cal and just give up on the whole idea of it for Cal to just be like, fine, man, you got it. No, don't go.
You're paying with High Point.
Whatever you say, kid. Go ahead.
Speaking of how things have changed, I think Matt Norlander pointed out that High Point's NIL budget was like $5 million or something like that, which is just insane. But they got a steak joint and a hibachi.
I saw that story about. I misunderstood what kind of institution High Point was, to be perfectly honest, or at least maybe. Or I did understand.
Kelly's cousin was sent to High Point for that specific reason, for life skill purposes, and to say that the demographic that goes to High Point and Kelly's cousin, they were not compatible. He was just like, I want to get that. I cannot be around these people. He's like, just couldn't do it.
Like, they've completely turned their whole thing over.
Yeah.
Like, in a way, like, I thought it was a commuter school.
No.
It
was.
They decided, okay, we're gonna be something else. But you know what?
The liberty thing without religion.
Yeah. But here's the thing with basketball, man. You get the right alum.
Yeah, man.
It don't really take that much money to change the game.
So here's my question, getting back to Carolina.
Where's the love? Where's the guy?
Where's the guy?
It's kind of crazy that there isn't a guy.
You always hear about how Carolina's got money. I'm not disputing the fact that they have money, but like, I'm noticing a through line with a lot of these new basketballs, not new basketball schools, but basketball schools that are having success. They have like one key guy. We're bringing up Arkansas and Cal.
They got two.
They got the chicken man. Okay.
Walmart and the chicken.
They got Walmart and they got diamond money. Don't forget that.
That's right. I forgot about the diamond money, but I do know the whole reason why Cal's there is because of the Tyson dude.
Yes.
Okay. So that was a key cog in all of this, right? So, and I'm sitting here looking at Carolina. Yeah, they got a lot of doctors and a lot of lawyers and whatnot. But do they have the one that truly is just going to be the rainmaker here? And we know it's not Jordan. Because Jordan's too busy being a NASCAR guy now.
Yeah, like they don't have a Vince McMahon.
Right.
Like, I mean, when are Golden Corral and Vince McMahon going to get together and make ECU the tackiest champion anybody has ever seen?
No, you need Mr. Beast in the mix too, since the studios are there in Greenville. He didn't actually go to ECU, but he's based there, and he could easily make that the place.
Well, hold on. Well, let me ask this question in line with that, because Duke's got a broad set of money, right? Yeah. But is Mr. Murphy's money enough these days for the Pack?
No. They got a new guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's new Pack money.
There's a new Wendell Murphy. There's only one though. That's the problem. There continues to only be one.
Is this guy what, Andy Albright?
Well, he's got some. But not Brian McMurray.
Oh,
money.
Brian McMurray's the one with the new
NC
money.
State's new guy, Bo, is the guy who invented medical mesh.
Oh,
yeah.
Look, the most intriguing thing or most fun thing for me, one of the most fun things has always been playing a game of who's the money. From school to school, just like Bobby Louder at Auburn was always this fascinating mythical figure, or even if they're not actually the money, just the power. Paul Bryant Jr. At Alabama becomes a big one. The Cody Campbell guy at Texas Tech. Those guys are so much more important now. Just who is the money? Texas, of course, famously, the problem is who's the money? Sit down. This will take a while. It's like 15 of them.
One last Carolina thing before we move on to the last thing I wanted to bring up. Without winning a national championship, is Hubert Davis the coach with the best thing you can have on your resume that isn't a banner?
He is the man behind the two biggest wins in the history of one of the top three programs in the history of college basketball. There are no two bigger wins. Championships that Wilt Chamberlain game with the little white boys, that don't matter. Jordan hit the shot. That was nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got the two, no matter what anything else is. Once he's gone, be happy that he's gone. But all there is to talk about is the two best wins. No one has ever made these people feel better than Hubert did that rivalry is over. Right? Like, oh, and it's really hurting Carolina that Duke is right up the road doing this. Yeah, kind of. The problem is they're just not good enough. I don't think the Duke part, the Duke part matters that much.
Is it over?
Look.
We're not here, Bo, if Duke's treading water with Carolina.
Dude, no, I think we are still here if Duke is treading water. I don't mean it doesn't help, certainly, but Duke can win.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Chip Patterson. All right, Chip's here. Chip.
Hey, look, man.
Come here.
I got a camera for you.
Just grab I'm not on the camera yet. I can't go quad boxing.
I'm just saying, Duke. Chip, what's going on, brother?
What's up, Bo? How you doing?
I suddenly want some fried chicken if you got one of them tie-around ties right there in a gray suit. But I'm just saying, Duke can beat Carolina 50 times in a row by 50 points every game. Doesn't matter.
As the guy who lives in Manhattan.
It's over.
I would say that it did not feel over during the 9-0 run to close the win and the Seth Trimble shot. I was in the building for that.
Yes.
It did not feel as though that lacked meaning in any way.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that the games that they play don't mean anything. I'm just saying in the ledger, as you add it up, there's a winner in this rivalry and there's a loser. And the loser had a bunch of college kids out there being chastised in front of their home crowd for daring to lose a basketball game.
It's unacceptable.
This was unacceptable. What are you doing?
Dave Williams. He's out here doing this.
I think that if there would have been less, if it was truly over, then there we go. If it was truly over, then the winners would not feel as uncomfortable as they are in their current position.
I think you're making the point, but I think you get mine.
Yes, of course I get you.
There's nothing. Here's the thing. Hubert deserved to lose his job, but nothing he'd ever do was going to be better than what he did in those games. Nothing.
Brady Manning gets a lot of that credit too.
Yeah.
Here we go. Who's the highest ranking white man on duty? Let's make sure that he gets his point. Not Caleb Love. No.
Caleb Love gets the Final Four. Hey, Caleb Love gets the Final Four. Yes. I do think that in Cameron, it's a little bit of the Iron Five. It's a little bit of Brady Manick, Mondo being able to take it to Paolo Banchero, who is Mr. Everything all year long.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, the game
we all hear each other. All I'm saying is thank Hubert for his service. He did two very important things.
Fair
And
enough.
now everybody's ready for him to go.
Good to see you.
Likewise, brother.
This gets to the final part of the conversation. We're going to be living that moment for a really, really long time, and it's going to hold you back because nostalgia holds you back. Nostalgia holds you back in the grand scheme of things.
What some people call nostalgia, some might call perspective.
Hey, that's what we try to do on this program, man. We try to offer perspective so that the youngins understand, why things are the way they are. Just like on your podcast, you've been going back through some old hip hop records and trying to help the youths understand why we are where we are. However, this is where we get into, I like to consider that we are a part of the actual greatest generation, right? We are old enough to remember a time before digital, but we were young enough to not be afraid of technology. Okay. So we have this fine balance. We were one of a kind, in my opinion.
I'm pretty terrified of technology now, but.
Well, there is that because we know better, better, right? But here's where I need help. And I don't know, maybe you think about this too. What's the line from adding context and trying to educate versus nostalgia as brain rot? Because man, are our brethren really starting to jump into that brain rot of, I know you've seen that trend, like, Mom, Dad, what were the 90s like? Or it's just like this overall extension of, the NBA in the 90s. Nobody wanted that smoke back then, as if players today aren't bigger, faster, stronger. When do we cross that line? Because I feel like we've crossed that line here recently.
Yeah, I guess it happens to everybody, right?
Are we boomers now? Have we become what we've hated?
Yeah, I mean, all you had to do was get to be the age. The problem with the boomers wasn't that they were boomers. They just got to a certain age.
Yeah.
You know?
Can't do anything about it. I try to stay up on stuff. I try to be okay, with what's going on. I really do. But then I hear stuff and I go, this is trash.
Yeah.
And I've become that guy. It's trash. Although the new Sturgill's not trash. The new Sturgill's actually pretty good.
I have criticisms of the new Sturgill.
What's wrong with Mutiny After Midnight?
Oh, no, it sounds very good.
Sounds great.
But it is an album about sex that is not sexy.
Okay.
That is not his lane. Stay on that D until you get that G. Ugh, from the greatest songwriter of his generation, that's a bit clunky, don't you think? It's a great band. It sounds excellent, but
Bo, he did the chord change while he was saying that line.
This is well done. He just, hey man, he's a divorced man. He tried to give us the sad divorce album, and it wasn't that good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very clear that he didn't have his band leader for that album, and the sound is very different between the two albums simply based on that. Like I saw him say that it was very influenced by Marvin Gaye on this record. So I'm like, oh, it's a divorce album, and you tried to be Sexy Man, and Sexy Man is just not his lane.
Yeah, this is not a Hear My Dear.
No, but Hear My Dear, it's a record I have.
It's a harsh ass record. That's why.
It's a sucker ass record if it really comes down to it. So the judge says that you got to give her the money from this album. You just dog her out track for track. Only with us knowing how miserable it must be to be married to Marvin Gaye, or it must have been to be married to Marvin Gaye.
Must have been.
But anyway, he tried. I do love how the record sounds, though. And when it is good, I think it is very good. But when he tries to be Sexy Man, I'm just kind of like, nah, I'd rather hear about how you were heartbroken, actually.
Bomani Jones, Right Time is the podcast. Go check it out, podcast and YouTube, because we live in a world where you got to watch the video.
Please.
All right, Bo, we'll talk to you later, man.
Appreciate it.
Have you been workshopping your agent hype speech for Hometown Realty?
I have. I'm checking out some of their social media team too. Like, they have a lot of employees who have been there for all 25 years.
Right.
So
it's pretty cool.
I mean, it just might be a speech that just like praises them for actually caring about not only their employees, but their customers. Like, what a concept.
Watch this drive. I know you're going to be hitting some. I know you're going to be hyped about this at Drive Shack. I might get out there. I know they got like that ridiculous Easy Club. Have you hit the Easy Club?
I'm not familiar with this.
Oh, you're not familiar with the Easy Club?
No.
Oh my God. It is a cheat code, dude.
Interesting.
It's a cheat code. Like, anybody can hit off this thing. It's impressive.
Okay.
So yeah, big thanks to Hometown Realty. They've been helping us out. They're in the community, as Joe mentioned. They treat their customers and their agents right. And that's what's important when you're looking to do something that's a really big deal, buying and selling a home. So hit them up online at myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. If you're actually looking to sell your house, or you just bought a house, like some of our new neighbors did, and they have like no window treatments, don't try to put it up yourself.
No.
That's just
that was me.
frustration.
It's me.
Pure frustration.
Nope.
So hit them up, bloominblinds.com, bloominblinds.com, 919-980-9815 is the number. OG listeners, 10 or more window treatments, you'll get 10% off. So hit them up today at 919-980-9815. And you know what? You got a house, you got to celebrate. Butcher's Market. Fill up that new fridge with all the Butcher's Market goodies. Go to thebutchersmarkets.com. Again, that's thebutchersmarkets.com. And we just got word. Now, Roy Cooper's outside the store right now, but I wanted to highlight the fact that we were just over at the current governor's mansion.
Yes.
We visited Josh Stein. You brought him some 2 roosters.
The Cookie Monster.
Apparently, it was a huge hit with him and the staff.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
Yeah.
We always bring gifts.
My basic people skills are pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so. I'll give you credit on that one.
Yep.
So if you're looking to, I don't know, housewarming gift, you want to eat your feelings because of the NCAA tournament, there's all sorts of reasons to go to 2 Roosters. Hit them up online at 2roosters.com. You know, people accuse us of being an NC State podcast, but I don't know how. I don't know how you can say that after today's show. We've had Chip Patterson giving us that perspective, Bomani Jones giving us the perspective, and now Roy Cooper is in studio, a double Tar Heel with more UNC perspective. Roy, what's going on?
How are you guys doing?
It's been busy, man.
It has been
Been
busy.
busy.
Sports all the time. I mean, you don't even have time to do a show for watching sports.
Yeah.
If you're keeping up with it all.
On top of waiting to see what happens in Chapel Hill, which, again, all indications are there's really going to be nothing official today.
Wait a minute. I'm still waiting
on
the Board of Trustees to go around everybody and cut a $50 million deal with Phil Jackson. What do you think about that?
Why? Well, you know what? You're not having the Brad Stevens fever dream?
Oh, come on. Yeah, well, look, I take Brad Stevens and a New York Minute and a Boston Minute. I take Brad Stevens.
You're not watching
so quickly.
You're not watching
I
ESPN.
don't
Stephen
think
A.
that's
Smith
gonna
saying,
happen.
"Oh, Kenny Smith, give him the job." See how that works out, right?
Kenny Smith. Wow. Have Shaq on the bench as an assistant. That would be fantastic.
That would.
Yeah.
How have you processed all of this from what happened last Thursday and the loss to VCU to where we are today and this kind of limbo? It's gotta suck.
Yeah, it is bad, and we need a decision really soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I've read so many different things. Coach Davis is such a great person. He's an amazing person. Obviously, these second half collapses that are continuing to happen are very frustrating to Carolina fans, and to have it happen like it did, when it did, it was just devastating to everybody. I don't really expect him to leave or to be fired. I expect that he will have another year at least to prove his mettle, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. I don't know if he's going through some, do I want to do this or not? I don't know. So it's hard to lay blame on the delay, but the delay is problematic when you're talking about transfer portal and players thinking about what they're going to do and everybody jumping on potential coaches. So it's time, hopefully by the end of the day or tomorrow, we will know something definitively.
Were you down in Charlotte for the ACC tournament?
No, I wasn't. I would have loved to
have
have
like campaign or something.
Yeah,
like,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm out there. I'm out there working.
I mean, you got constituents out there.
I did bring you guys a little campaign merch. I went to an event the other night, and somebody had some things that were made up. So I brought you guys. I know that you're just going to love this. First, the last time I came in here, Joe Giglio was on the floor. And he had a very rough night, and we got through the interview
somehow.
We got through the interview, but I didn't know whether I would come upon similar circumstances today.
You get him some Pedialyte?
So yeah, no. What I got for him is this. It's gone to the bottom of the bag,
Okay.
of course. But I got you some dual action Advil with acetaminophen and making sure that we have Pepto-Bismol in there to make sure that your stomach is okay.
The dual action just sounds like something you would need on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
And
like that
then
for you and your issues.
Wash it down with a diet.
Oh, hell yes. With the sun
That's
drop.
what you do.
Oh,
And
it's
I brought
cold.
me one
Okay.
so I could drink it with you.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And so you're going to get more caffeine out of that than you ever dreamed possible. And
It's somewhere in there.
Perfect.
I think the sun drop has healing powers in and of
and
itself.
then you guys get a Roy Cooper for Senate poker chip and fingernail file.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
Really
What
is.
a
fingernail file. Oh, here's the stuff I got it in my
There you
pocket
go.
in a baggie. The Pepto-Bismol and the
pink.
Advil is for
Okay,
you.
perfect.
So,
You're the best.
but you don't need it.
I'm fresh
good
today.
today.
You knew you didn't want to
I
repeat
do
that.
need this though.
I
I
figured
do
you
need
did.
this. This will go.
So there
my
you go.
clubs in the bag in the car,
That's right.
right into the bag.
Okay, so
But
I have,
no, I wasn't there, and I get-
hold on. I have a question though. As somebody who
Cheers.
is knee
Cheers,
deep,
thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
who's knee deep in how do I put OG stuff on merch, right? A fingernail file?
Look, these were friends who had done it themselves.
No. Okay.
So and I deeply appreciate that. That's something that they wanted to do.
I
and they did it.
I never thought about this.
But you can get official merch at roycooper.com.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to do that,
Hey,
they can.
Joe, do you think we can do official OG nail clippers?
Yeah,
Is that something we could do for the birthday bash? Give those away?
phenomenal.
Just a
That's
thought.
a great idea.
Just do some nail clippers, right? I think that would make, and then you could use your Roy Cooper nail file with it.
It's right there on Vincent. I like it.
Well,
I'm just like, okay.
You guys are always so kind to me. So hey, I'd bring you something.
Hey,
and
look.
I'm glad you're feeling okay today, Joe. So
Look,
We
it's good.
debated how much I should drink last night, whether it's a new tradition.
No,
or-
somebody sent me something about you guys talking at the end of the day, and you were telling him to go get hammered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
we
it's
show
just-
respect by showing no respect.
keep tradition.
Stoic.
Hey, look, you know how this is, with the Canes, right?
Yeah.
If it works, you keep doing
You
it.
keep doing it.
You
Yeah.
keep doing it.
I wasn't in Charlotte. I'm sort of glad I wasn't there now. That was an epic collapse.
Yeah,
It's just hard to I did watch it.
Yeah.
It was in the back of a car on my iPad and just I had texted one of my friends. We were sort of watching it together. I said, "This is the longest game I've ever seen." And you sort of just knew the feeling of dread
Mhm.
kept coming upon you. Even when we had a double-digit lead, I had a feeling of dread, and unfortunately, it happened. So
See, now there's a tell right there. The real fandom, by the way.
Yeah.
Because what do you do for the Canes? You DVR it.
I do. You're right.
See, like he's like,
He's
no.
watching He's watching the.
I got this up
the-
on my
Tar
phone in the
Heels
back of my
right
car.
now.
We're watching this
Well,
right now. We are not waiting.
but I do it a lot of hurricane because I did watch the once again us beating the Penguins, but in Pittsburgh 5-1 and just
destroyed
to
them.
put it together game. It was exciting. I did watch that in the back of the car live as well, thinking they were going to kill us after we had. They got a couple of loser points in Raleigh, but I thought they were going to take us to the woodshed in Pittsburgh, but they didn't. We're looking pretty good. Pretty good.
How
I
are
like it.
you? How are you processing the condensed schedule? Joe and I have talked about this. I'm doing my best to go zen. I'm not going to get too high after a win. I'm not going to get too low. I'm just like, just stay healthy and get to the playoffs healthy.
I don't know how these players do it. Hockey
It's nuts.
is the toughest game in sports in and of itself. And the fact that they play 82 games, just like an NBA team, and I get to see these NBA players, we need to rest. These hockey guys, they are tough. And I love it. It's one of the things I love about hockey. But this condensed schedule is murder. And the fact that we haven't had more injuries this year,
Knock on wood.
I am amazed at that because I know the guys wanted to play in the Olympics, and I'm so happy we won the gold medal. It was great experience, but this makes it tough on the NHL. It really does. So I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't know what you can do about it though. If we allow these players to play in the Olympics, you got no choice but to condense it.
Maybe play fewer games. I'm an advocate for the same thing for the NBA.
There's no
Play
way
70 games.
there's no way they're going to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to renegotiate everything, and I just don't see that happening. But
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do because they count on that gate.
yeah,
I want more money. Well, you could still make a bunch of money. No,
Yeah.
I want more.
Well, it's already how much? Well, can you? I mean, I don't know if you have even the power to do this, but like, can you put in like I don't know federal laws that prevent teams from charging more than $20 for parking? Because that's the other thing. You do fewer games. Well, guess what? They're going to charge you $100 to park because they got to make up the back end on the money they're already
that's
making on the parking.
frustrating too. I don't know whether you can get into.
Yeah, I don't
you
think you
can
can.
get
I
into
don't think you
price
can.
capping, but
No.
that makes it
would-
really really hard.
That would be bad.
But we do need to make stuff cost less, and I've been on my make stuff cost less tour all across the state. But I'll tell you, I'm worried about in goal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about Bussy a little bit, but I like the reemergence of Freddie. I think he's getting back into his old shape, and we know that he can play playoff hockey, which is good. So I'm concerned about goal. That's where I'm concerned.
So I guess this gets back to the trade deadline. Because we last time we chatted with you, it was ahead of the trade deadline. And it just looks like the market was so weird that it was going to require some painful decisions if you were to go out and get better in net, right?
Right.
Like your guy, Bennington, probably would have been super expensive and you've had to part ways with somebody that you just didn't want to do. And it's something that Eric Tulsky talked about at his price availability after the trade deadline. Like, do you get it? Do you understand it? Were you still a little like, you couldn't have done something?
Goaltending is so hit or miss.
There's that.
You have a lot of well-paid goaltenders in this league that are not a bang for the buck.
Mhm.
I was reading an article in The Athletic not so long ago. Hurricanes do pretty well for the bang for the buck with their goaltending. But when it comes playoff time, you need that guy to emerge. And Bennington, he unquestionably a great goalie, but he's had a tough year. I'm sort of like you, Joe. I don't know. Did Eric tell you what we would have had to give up to get Bennington?
I am in the process of getting around to finding a time in their schedule.
Yeah.
So that we can talk to him about these types of things. But you can look at the insider reporting and see that, like, to me, it wasn't necessarily goaltending. To me, it was, what are the New York Rangers doing with Vincent Trocheck? Like, do you really think you're going to get a different kind of deal in the summer than you were at the trade deadline? Why did you hold on to him? You're literally not playing for anything right now. Was it Chris Drury even wrote a letter to the fans, like saying we're punting on the rest of the season?
Yeah.
But I guess they knew because of so many teams that are in the mix. It created that environment that the teams knew there were a lot of buyers and they were going to jack up the price on what they could get back. And of course, Tulsky just made it seem that. Also, the other thing that he said too, and I guess this is something that we have to kind of reconcile, and I don't know if fans necessarily view it this way, that how are you really going to get better? They actually like their group. It's the old Don Waddell. I like my group. I like this group. I like this team. And I think we haven't really gotten a full look at it because they've been hurt so often throughout the season that maybe we've been rightfully praising Rod Brind'Amour for keeping this thing together throughout the injuries and guys stepping up, that now that everybody, again, knock on wood, seems to be 100%, and there's no more Florida Panthers in the mix, hey, things might actually be turning up, Canes. This is a 20-year anniversary. There's symmetry, right, to 2006.
Buffalo in the conference finals,
right?
That would be fantastic.
There's all that kind of stuff.
Keep an eye on Columbus. They drubbed us last week, and I texted our friend Don Waddell and congratulated him on that win. I told him I didn't like it very much, and I said, "You guys are going to be a dangerous playoff team."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, texting me back, "If we make it," which they're teetering on the edge between the wild card and the third spot in their group.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens to them, but they are playing very, very well, and they beat us like a drum the other night. But Don's been great. I think we play them again coming up in a couple of days.
Yeah,
so I think they're coming in maybe Friday night.
You got the handy dandy sheet in front of you.
The 31st.
Okay.
Oh, they got two more.
Two more with the
31st and the 2nd.
Jackets. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. I wonder why. That's weird.
Yeah,
how the schedule's worked out.
I think this condensed schedule, you just don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know. You guys got the money. Your business going well enough to go to Finland next year.
We discussed this. We discussed this yesterday.
That would be such a fun trip.
I mean, is there a direct flight? Like, I don't think there's a direct
I have
flight to
no
Finland
idea.
from here.
No, I think we would maybe Iceland,
Then Finland?
London, then Finland.
Man, I guess that
probably.
would make the most amount of sense. I mean, I don't know.
If we get in the line right now, we could maybe get through the TSA checkpoint.
For the game. You joke, but I got a 6 a.m. flight on Monday that I'm starting. Thankfully, it's through Terminal 1, so fingers crossed it's not going to be as busy as Terminal 2 can get. I'm more concerned getting back.
Do you have pre-check?
No. I don't travel enough to justify pre-check. I've never really had those types of issues. And also, I've seen some of the lines for pre-check, and it is what it is. But yeah, man.
Washington's broken. Need new people up there.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Need a fun TSA. I mean, all of them agree to a fun TSA. But that scuttled yesterday. It's just broken. It's ridiculous. Need to do it right now.
It's got to be so unusual for you. Obviously, your political career has been here in the state of North Carolina, right? But it just seems like, and we have a nice track record in this state of Democrats and Republicans being in power, kind of taking some turns, working together. It kind of almost feels like a model, right?
Yeah.
For the rest of the country.
I was going to say, I don't know. After 8 years, would you agree with that? With some of the things that happened? I know.
He was a check.
Yeah.
On the
we
balance.
fought on some things.
We
fought about some things, but we worked together on things too. We got Medicaid expanded, 640,000 new good paying jobs, third fastest growing state in the country, best state for business 3 out of the last 4 years I was governor. I mean, a lot of good things working together, and you have to work across the aisle. I think people want us to get things done is what they want us to do. So Washington will be a challenge right now.
It just felt like a lot of I don't know, you could probably think differently of the legislator holding secret sessions in the middle of the night, but it felt like a lot of common sense issues in the state of North Carolina. Like you're sitting here saying about TSA, like it needs to be funded.
It needs to be funded. What a concept.
Yeah. Fund it.
Like, what are we talking about?
I even think they have a majority of Republicans and Democrats who are ready to fund it now.
Right.
So just get it done.
But it just seems like we're in this distorted reality. And I was kind of curious, I was going to give you a speech today. I know you're like, I got to give a speech on Thursday.
We're
going to be trying to inspire some people, but
good.
I'm going to say this and
young sports journalists.
Realtors,
real estate agents.
We talked to them about sports. Yeah, but this is politics.
I'm trying to go Giglio, and after he gives a hype speech, he just goes, "Now watch this drive."
No,
but that's another story.
Well, I mean, they can be successful in their lives if they run ads on your show.
This is true.
That's right.
Look how successful you are here.
That's right.
I know you will fight. I know you will. But it's interesting to see Tom Tillis now change some of his tune when it's easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easy to fight when you know there are no consequences. You're not potentially stepping into an easy situation where, and again, getting back to a grand tradition of politics in this state. Jesse Helms was a Republican who sometimes would fight when it wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's an important tradition for you to uphold, that, sometimes you got to do things that you got to swerve sometimes.
It's important for me to put people over politics, people over power, people over party. And you just have to end up doing the right thing. And that's what I'm going to do what I think is right.
So the last thing on this, because I'm curious, because I know we'll get the comments in the YouTube and on social media and all that kind of stuff, which is fine. It's our podcast. We do what we do. We appreciate the people who do listen and everything like that. Most people are not wonks. Okay. They're not reading the day-to-day of what's going on in DC. What they do understand is actual real-world consequences of those actions. Like, I'm legitimately worried about my spring break trip with my kids. This is the last spring break trip I'll be doing with my older son. He's going to turn 18. After that, hey, man, you can do whatever you want to do. You're an adult. So this is kind of a big deal trip for us. And we're all freaking out about these particular types of things. So how do you thread a needle where it's like, yeah, we all understand that it's broken, and not getting caught up in the, well, who's at fault? I don't really care at this point. I mean, I have my feelings as to why we're here, but at this point, I don't really care about playing blame games. I'm more interested in, can we just get the freaking TSA to work normally?
The finger pointing is what's so frustrating, because they spend time pointing fingers rather than getting it done. And right now, for example, there's a large majority of Democrats and Republicans who want to fund the TSA and want to fund FEMA, because remember, our friends in Western North Carolina very much need help. The real debate is over ICE and how much funding should happen and how much reform should occur. Let's just isolate that, fund everything else, just to make sure that all of this gets done. And on top of that, you've got the war in Iran that has pushed gas prices up $1 a gallon in just 1 month. And that's on top of higher utilities and rent, childcare, and all of that. So it's very frustrating for people. And every day I'm happier that I've stepped up to run, because I'm ready to get there and work across the aisle, do what I can to fix this. And it needs fixing. We need people up there. I think you mentioned the word common sense. I think Washington needs a dose of North Carolina common sense. That's what I want to bring.
Easier to do these things or find the next coach of Carolina? If it's time to find the next coach of Carolina.
I think we can find the next coach of Carolina. I think we've got a lot of people who are ready to do that. So, but I think if Hubert doesn't say, I think it's hard to stay within the family, which I know is important.
That's why I ask. Are you sure it's easier or what?
If you guys get me Brad Stevens, then I'm good. I don't like the going around and getting the Phil Jackson thing. I don't think that works. Maybe for the older people, they could bring in 81-year-old Pat Riley.
Oh,
we could do
now
that.
we're talking.
Then
Kentucky grad.
Hey, you know what though? You know who would absolutely look great in an Alexander Julian suit? Pat Riley, because nobody wears a suit quite like that.
Nobody is still. He's still wears
rocking
the suit
suits,
pretty well.
man. Still rocking those suits. Roy Cooper, we appreciate you dropping by. Thank you for the gifts, and good luck with the Canes. We'll be checking in with you once we get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd like to do a playoff podcast or two. That would be.
I think we're ready for some after dark.
Hey, if you can get us a spot in Boston, if they play Boston in the first round, we can get you a credential. I mean, we can make a trade on that front.
Go to the Garden. The TD Garden's fun. I'm 0-1 with the Hurricanes in the TD Garden. So
either that or we
need to even that up.
Or you could be our OG media correspondent in Finland.
I could do that too.
We could definitely.
So when is that? Is that in November?
It's in November. You'll be.
But I made the election may be over.
The election should theoretically be over. Yes.
Yeah, but he's got stuff to do. He can't be going to Finland.
Theoretically,
we can go to Finland.
Yes, we'll go. Roy, we appreciate it. Take it easy.
Guys. Thank you.
Always a fun hang with Roy Cooper. One thing that we've been discussing, a lot of the uncertainty, you hear the headlines, you don't know what's what. I saw a headline today about rates and being at 7%. They're going back up. Are they going back down? I don't know. I really don't. And it's tough to interpret. And that affects a lot of people, which is why you should contact our folks at Miller Lending. Check them out online at millerlending.com, 919-447-3377. Gordon's going to hang out with us on Thursday, because it's been kind of an interesting newsy week as it relates to the rates. Okay. And you might just kind of be in this holding pattern. I don't know his
answers, but Gordon
does. Yeah. And so call him, 919-447-3377. But we're going to spend some more time with Gordon this week, and hopefully we'll get some better clarity on what exactly is going on. And I don't know, maybe the Hank will make a return. He'll make some predictions for the next 6 months. Here's something that you don't have to mess around with. It's actually a very easy solution. Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. The treatment started this week, which means once the pollen kind of subsides and I can actually spend some more time outside, guess what? I will not be bothered by mosquitoes. Thanks to our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out online at bugsbite.com. You can bundle and save. Speaking of saving, Matt Davis, State Farm. He's going to save you money on home and auto. We've been talking about saving money, finding ways where you can bring a little bit back into your pocket. One easy way to do it is with your home and auto insurance. If you have not looked at the rates in a couple of years, heck, even in the last year, you might be spending more than you need to. So contact our guy, Matt Davis, to see where he can save you money. InsureGarner.com, 919-779-8277. InsureGarner.com. Boy. All right. Before we get into the OG sports phone, saw this from Seth Davis. over on social media, over on Twitter. Not sure I've seen many situations like the one that is happening at North Carolina regarding Hubert Davis. My understanding is the administration asked Hubert if he wants to continue, and he said emphatically yes. To let it go on for this long with no decision is not fair to anyone at this point. It would be very, very difficult to bring him back. He would enter next season under a huge cloud. Usually the best strategy in this situation is to rip the Band-Aid off and make a decision one way or the other. To let it linger for this long is unnecessary and it is unhealthy. And here's hoping we get a decision on this one way or the other very, very soon. The reason why I bring this up is this is the first time I've seen it, at least reported, from somebody of Seth's stature, like a national reporter who is plugged in, saying that the administration asked Hubert if he wants to continue, and he said yes. And that might actually lead to why it's taking as long as it's taking to be forever grateful and find an exit.
Yeah, again, they're trying to do this privately as opposed to the way that it played out with Mac Brown.
Yeah, and it's only becoming more of an issue. Let's go back to the sports phone.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Let's go to a 704.
Hey guys, it's Paul. I have a theory about why it's taking so long for the firing of Hubert Davis. I think that this administration has sort of already decided that they want to be villains by hiring Bill Belichick in the way that they hired Bill Belichick. And I think they want to fully embrace being villains. So I think they're going to put out a release saying Hubert Davis is fired, but at the very bottom, in the tiniest font, it's going to say, and we're moving the program to Carolina North. And also, our new coach is Todd Golden. I think Carolina looks at Duke. I think Lee Roberts looks at Duke because, Duke guy. He's like, I love the Death Star. And you know what? I think I can make the Death Star over here. That's my take.
I used this on Sirius the other day, so I'll let you do it.
Can we stop with the Death Star? Not only gets blown up once, it gets blown up twice. And on top of that, because J.J. Abrams has no new ideas, they made a whole ass planet into a Death Star called Starkiller Base. And do you know what happened to that one? They blew that one up too. So why are people obsessed with the concept of the Death Star? It gets defeated in the end. It gets blown up by a scrappy little farm boy from Tatooine. Why? Why do you put me in these positions to sound like a bigger nerd than I already am?
Well, actually,
the Death Star gets blown up twice.
I don't know why a lisp comes out when you do that.
I don't know either. That's like my nerd voice. I don't know why that happens. It just naturally happens. Other than that, though, I liked where Paul was going. If you're going to be the bad guy, be the bad guy. If you really wanted to do that, you got to go to your WWF roots. Let's go to some North Carolina wrestling roots, and we can do Razor Ramon and be like, you want to talk to the bad guy? Right? Isn't that what he said? That wasn't a Razor Ramon guy.
That was a terrible impersonation
of a guy doing an impersonation of being a
Al
Cuban.
Pacino, who was impersonating being a Cuban.
That was so terrible.
Like even John Cooper is offended by that.
Let's go back to the phone. 919.
Hey, Joes. This is Paul up in Boston. I'm a Duke fan. It's after the TCU game, and, I'm happy about that. But really, I'm calling because I just got around to listening to your mailbag episode. It was a good one. And I had a couple thoughts on the Hubert situation. I grew up in Chapel Hill. I've got, close family who are Tar Heel fans. And two perspectives. First is that, for all the yellow pad charting and everything, which I completely agree with, Hubert's not at the standard of Roy, who had a great standard. Carolina fans were calling for Roy's head for a couple years before he actually retired. he was really trailing off at the end relative to where he'd been through the late teens. There were about, 3 or 4 years where they just weren't happy with the product he was putting out there. And you can say you're not going to count the 2020 year because there wasn't a tournament, and that makes sense for the math. But that was a really bad team from the Tar Heels. And for a couple years, I thought people were already annoyed with Carolina basketball. And Hubert has really continued the trend, not bucked it. I think the 5 years, the frustration's been around for more than 5 years of Hubert. It's been around for 8 years is sort of how I feel, really ever since the 2017 team. Just the other thing is, brotherhood's a better marketing slogan than family. It's totally ripped off, but they realized the players don't want to be paternalized. They don't want to have them parents looking down at them telling them what to do, which is a Chapel Hill mantra altogether. They like having brothers and equals. So I think Duke absolutely ripped it off, and regardless, they did it better. Better round second time. All right. Thanks so much, Joes.
I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying with the whole family, brotherhood, that kind of stuff, but I'm glad you were comfortable with admitting that they ripped it off. Because again, in the history of business, just because you invented something or just because it used to be your thing doesn't mean somebody can't take it, remix it, and do it better than you. And that's exactly what Duke did with the brotherhood. But I do agree with the overall point. It's something that we haven't gotten too deep into of how much of this is specific to Hubert, which I think it's its own conversation. I think we've discussed it enough. And also being realistic about why Roy Williams eventually said it was time for me to retire and where things had gone for him at the end.
Yeah.
Right. And knowing when to walk away. Because again, Roy gets a lot of credit for understanding I want to do it a particular way. I cannot do it this way anymore. So I'm going to walk away. So I give a lot of credit to Roy Williams on that. But you also have to be honest about where Carolina was after they won the national championship in 2017 and how there had been diminishing returns up until that point.
Yeah, it's funny. The end of Roy was, 20, like he mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
They would not have made a tournament even if there was one. 21 was the only time he ever lost in the first round. So again, you're getting back to that. What's really wrong? What's going on?
Yeah.
And even 19, where they do get Kobe White. Remember, he wanted Zion Williamson as bad as anybody else.
Yeah.
And the year before, he wanted Brandon Ingram just as bad as anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is some of that it's bleeding into getting lost in history. But no, that I think that also contributes to where a lot of people are, in the sense that it's like, no, really, it's not just the last few years. Like, you got to go back to, 19 would be more of a blip at this point than the standard.
Yes.
Right. And even that team lost in the Sweet 16 because they had bad Thai food or something after the game before they played Auburn.
All right, I think we got time for one more. 919.
This is Joseph in Wake Forest calling, and looks like Hubert Davis might get the gate here, and I've heard Giglio say UNC is the best job in all of college basketball. And I've been saying that on the old Tar Heel 247 premium basketball board or whatever it's called. And I've been getting a little bit of blowback on that with respect to this NIL error. And I'm just wondering if Giglio would like to amend that or if he would like to agree with me on that. I hope you guys have had a good weekend and take care. Bye-bye.
The advantage Carolina always had over Duke was multiple coaches did it.
Yes.
And that even goes back to the 57 championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't just one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Frank McGuire. Then you had Dean Smith.
Real quick.
And Roy Williams.
Roy Williams, for the longest time, and we disagreed with this sentiment, but there was this idea that Roy Williams was an overrated coach because, well, he's at Carolina. How hard could it be? Right?
Right.
So that essentially was admitting it's the best job because you want to go there. It's a recipe to win. They got everything in place to win. Is it still the best job on the market today? I would argue that if it's not the best job on the market, I would simply answer that question with a question. What is the best job on the market? Which job actually has that name recognition? For as much as Jay Williams is on First Take talking about, well, it's not for that logo, we're not talking about it. Yeah, dude, that's the fucking point. That logo
Part
still
of it.
resonates. That logo is recognizable. You know the brand, you know the history, and you can reel off names of people right down to the easiest one, Michael effing Jordan. The shoes are iconically tied to them because of Jordan and everything else. So, yeah, I would simply ask, okay, well, if that's not the best job in the country, or if not one of the best jobs in the country, because I know some people would say Kentucky, some people would say Kansas, fine. It's at least one of those jobs.
Kentucky's another job where multiple coaches have done it.
Yep.
But it is universally accepted that Kentucky fans are insane.
Yes.
That is not to say Carolina fans don't have their share of lunacy.
We're having some
But
moments.
it's honestly not at the Kentucky level.
No.
Okay.
No.
So that's why I had always argued that Carolina was the best job, because it's been done by multiple coaches.
Mhm.
You do have that history. You do have Michael Jordan, which really is somewhat of an argument ender on a lot of these things.
Yes, it is.
But, part of what makes Carolina really good too is Duke, is having Duke. Kansas doesn't have a rival like that. Kentucky, you could say Louisville, but not really.
It's not really it.
It's not the same.
Kentucky's more obsessed with Duke at this point.
Right. So I think there is something to, I understand the question, is it still in this era? But here's what I would ask you in this era. What do you actually need? And maybe I didn't do a great job of it. I was listening to yesterday's episode. Maybe I didn't do a great job of enumerating what I was trying to say or expanding on what I was trying to say. The financial commitment is the biggest part of this. I think they started taking steps in that direction last year.
They did, yeah.
Getting the general manager, changing some of their setup.
But you need a coach who also is on the same page.
Correct. But I think, I would like to just make it clear that I think Lee Roberts and Steve Newmark had the right idea of which direction the football program needed to go and the financial commitment required to do it. I just think they hired the wrong coach to be the football coach. I think they will have the right idea with this money and the financial commitment. If it comes through the way that I believe it will, then yes, I think you go back to being the best job, because it's not just the money at that point. You then have the history and all that goes with it.
That's going to wrap it up for today's show. We appreciate Roy Cooper for dropping by. We appreciate Bomani Jones for hanging out. And of course, Chip Patterson.
Was that all today? Like, I feel like we had a Jimmy V day.
We really did. Like,
bring
I said,
this back to our Wolfpack roots.
Today is right.
Well, we didn't cry though.
Well,
I mean,
I might cry based on some of the comments I'll see on YouTube because of Roy Cooper's appearance, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
We had a full day though. We're taking care of our older generation. We're
Yeah.
talking to Bo. We had to talk Bo out of some things, talk him into something.
He also had to give you the look of
karma.
Like, he also had to give you the look of like, we're not equating Todd Golden and Bill Belichick now, are we? Because even I was a little bit
Even
like,
you were like, no, Joe.
no, Joe.
No, but
it's
hey, man,
not,
that math.
yeah,
That math.
it's consenting
But
adults.
That is an excellent point.
Consenting adults,
That is an
Joe.
excellent point.
It's one thing that
No one has filed a complaint, right?
No.
Okay.
No. Some fans have filed a complaint, but that's different.
Different.
That's a different kind of
Yeah,
complaint.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, but it's essentially I was transported back to the conversations I have with my own sons about consenting adults.
Prosecutor, excellent point.
Okay, and
Noted.
And Roy's not even here for that. I didn't even need the old attorney general to give me that. We'll see you all tomorrow.